Good discussion here this morning about understanding what it is that we have, the analysis, the assessments, and then trying to forecast out what it is that we will need, how we can be more efficient in our use, how we can recycle, how we can find alternatives. I want to go back to you, Mr. Fogels, with a follow-on to Dr. Kimball, just in terms of the mapping. You've indicated that 17% of the state of Alaska has been mapped, and we have a long ways to go in understanding what it is that we have available to us. I would imagine that we are in a similar situation around the country, just in terms of having a mapping and an understanding of the resource across the country. Obviously, the more we know, the better prepared we are. How do we go about placing a priority then on mapping? We've had a difficult time just getting an inventory of many of our oil and gas resources. This, in my view, this kind of falls in that same category. Is it something, and I think this goes to Senator Capito's point, where if the federal government isn't doing it, we rely on the states to do it. How do we do a better job in terms of the assessment?
Yeah, Madam Chair, thank you. I mean, that's a really good point. I think as we all know, a lot of you have heard Alaska's financial situation at this point, given the low oil prices, probably won't let us contribute as much to our mapping effort as we once have, for, at least for the time being. We hope that.
And so if we don't have the mapping, does that mean that we have investors that are just not looking at us because they don't know?
Well, again, we've done a lot of really good work on our mapping, and so already state mapping data has enabled us to find two significant prospects in Alaska: the Pogo gold mine, which is producing right now, and the Live and Good project, which is a fabulous project that's in pre-permitting. Both of those were discovered, at least in part, because of the state release of data. We have other projects such as the Richardson Highway area, where a company recently staked 23,000 acres of mining claims based on state data. So existing state data is still driving, driving investment in Alaska, and will continue to do so. We're just.
What about on the federal side? If we've got 17% of our state lands that have been mapped, how much of our federal lands have been mapped?
Actually, I think the 17% figure that I mentioned was all of Alaska, state,
okay.
federal,
okay.
And probably even private native corporation lands. So I don't have the actual breakout percentage by land ownership. But I mean, we definitely need to do more, and we're looking for innovative ways to partner with the federal agencies, such as the USGS, to keep that rolling. And for a while now, anyway, we'll have to rely more on the federal agencies to help us with that mapping.
Then let me ask you, Dr. Kimball, are we giving sufficient priority just to the assessment and mapping in your view?
I think that we could put more effort into developing those baseline assessments. And as we've talked a lot today about how technology is driving a need for critical minerals, advances in scientific technology can help us with those assessments and mapping. New techniques for using hyperspectral technology, for instance, which is being pioneered right now domestically in Alaska, has the provides us with the opportunity to be looking at larger areas, especially those that are inaccessible to the usual boots on the ground prospecting.